What would you do if the only way to make friends was to buy a high-tech robot that stalks your social media? Well, for Barney Pudowski, that is not a hypothetical question. It is his actual life. Welcome back, guys. And today, we are breaking down the story of a kid whose best friend is literally a walking glitch. We kick things off at the Bubble Corporation, where CEO Mark Weidel is having the best day of his life. He just unveiled the Bee-Bot, a sleek little robot designed to be every kid's perfect best friend. And here is the wild part. It does not get to know you the old-fashioned way. It just pulls all your personal info straight from the internet and boom, instant best friend, fully customized, ready to ship. The Bee-Bot can even connect you with other kids who share your interests, which sounds amazing, until you remember that your internet history is doing the friend-making for you. The launch is a massive success and Bee-Bots start flying off shelves to kids all over the world. Cut to the town of Nonsuch, where we meet Barney Pudowski, a lonely middle schooler who is somehow the only kid on the planet without a Bee-Bot. He lives with his dad, Graham, and his grandmother, Donka, who is the kind of grandma who cooks enormous traditional feasts and keeps a collection of animals in the house. Barney used to have friends, like the popular Savannah, the prankster Rich, the gamer Noah, and the science nerd Ava. But things are awkward now. And at school, Barney is basically invisible. His teacher literally puts him on the buddy bench, which is the school's way of announcing to everyone that this kid has zero friends. Rich, being rich, immediately uses the fact that Barney likes collecting rocks to make dumb internet videos at Barney's expense. It is also Barney's birthday, and he has a stack of party invitations ready to go, but he already knows nobody is coming because last time he had a birthday party, Donka's animals caused total chaos, started a fire, and sent all the kids screaming out the door. So, yeah, this kid is having a rough time. When Barney gets home, Graham is trying to sell his off-brand novelty products. Donka is cooking enough food to feed a small country, and the doorbell rings. For one beautiful second, Barney thinks it is a Bee-Bot being delivered to him. It is not. It is Rich and his crew, who wrapped up a giant rock to look like a Bee-Bot and left it on the porch. Cold. Graham sees how lonely his son really is and drives over to the Bubble headquarters to try to get him one. The employee, Bree, breaks the news. There is a 3-month wait list, but on his way out, Graham notices a Bee-Bot that had fallen off a delivery truck, which, as it turns out, happened because of Barney on his way to school earlier that morning. Graham does not ask many questions, he grabs it. Barney wakes up the next day to find a Bee-Bot sitting next to his bed, and he is genuinely thrilled. But when he tries to turn it on, things go sideways fast. The Bee-Bot is glitchy. It cannot connect properly. It is basically broken. So Barney decides to just leave it home for the day and asks it to do its best to learn about him on its own. Simple enough, right? He comes home to find his room completely destroyed and the Bee-Bot in the kitchen, singing and dancing with Donka to an old country folk song. It has learned exactly one thing about Barney's household, and it has committed to that knowledge with everything it has. Barney decides enough is enough and starts hauling the bot back to the store. On the way, they pass by a playground where Rich and his crew are hanging out filming content with their Bee-Bots. Barney's broken bot rolls right up to them and starts performing that goofy country folk song in front of everyone. Barney asks for the bot back. Rich starts doing what Rich does best, which is be terrible about it. Then the bot, having absolutely no chill and also no safety features, goes ahead and punches Rich. Rich tries to fight back. The bot fights harder. It chases Rich and his friends around the entire playground until they are all stuck in the equipment like human pretzels. Barney looks at this chaotic little robot that just defended him and changes his mind on the spot. He is keeping it. Unfortunately, a police officer shows up right after because Rich, swollen pride and all, called them in. Graham and Donka meet Barney and the cop at Bubble, where Barney insists Ron is totally fine. Actually, Bree disagrees. She points out that Ron's safety features were never activated, which is why he is out here hitting people, and orders him sent to the crusher. Barney slips away, breaks Ron out of the crusher room, and the two of them go sprinting through the entire Bubble building in a wild chase. They end up in a kid's playroom full of Bee-Bots wearing animal costumes. Barney deactivates one of those bots and swaps it out as a decoy. The fake Ron gets sent to the crusher. The real Ron gets smuggled out in Barney's arms. He names it Ron, based on the serial number on its back. Meanwhile, Mark and the company's COO, Andrew Morris, are meeting with shareholders to celebrate how well Bee-Bot sales are going. Then word gets around about Ron and his little adventures, and Andrew starts to sweat. He is terrified that a defective, unhinged Bee-Bot running loose is going to tank the company's reputation. But Barney is not worried about any of that. He and Ron are actually starting to bond. They hang out at home, goof around, and Barney opens up about how lonely he has been. One afternoon on a hill, Ron accidentally rolls down the slope and crashes into Savannah's swimming pool, with Barney tumbling in right after. Savannah's Bee-Bot records the whole embarrassing splash. Barney begs her not to post it or tell anyone about Ron, and she agrees. That night, Ron acts as Barney's nightlight because he figured out Barney is scared of the dark. Ron processes what Savannah said about how a B-bot is supposed to find friends for its owner and starts thinking about what that actually means for Barney. The next morning, Ron takes matters into his own hands and goes around town recruiting potential friends for Barney. He puts up flyers. He approaches strangers. He shows zero judgment in who qualifies. While Barney is sitting in class trying to study, Ron is out rounding up strangers and escorting them one by one to the buddy bench at school. An elderly woman, a biker, a homeless man, and a baby, all waiting at the buddy bench for Barney like it is a perfectly normal thing. The principal calls Barney into her office and makes it very clear that this is not how the buddy bench works. But the situation gets much worse, because Rich and his crew get hold of Ron and discover that his safety features were never uploaded. They think it is hilarious. They use their own B-bots to copy Ron's unsupervised code, and those bots immediately start going haywire too. The code spreads like a virus through every kid's B-bot in the area, and chaos erupts. The bots start fusing together into a giant robot mecha, and Savannah is filming the whole thing. Rich tries to command the massive merged bot. The bot responds by grabbing Savannah, swallowing her whole, and then pooping her out through its butt in front of everyone. Savannah is humiliated. She is now officially and permanently known as Poop Girl. The footage makes it to everyone at Bubble. Andrew forces a system patch that shuts all the bots down and resets them. Barney is sent home and he is furious at Ron, ordering him to go away. Ron does exactly what he was told. Andrew goes into full damage control mode, spins the story to blame Ron for everything, and tries to bury any footage of the incident. Mark, who actually invented the B-bots and is genuinely fascinated by Ron's weird code, has no choice but to let Andrew take the wheel. When Barney gets home, Bubble agents are already there looking for him and Ron. He finds Ron hiding in the shed. Barney apologizes and finally sees it clearly. Everything Ron has ever done, every chaotic, ridiculous, over-the-top thing, was all for him. He looks at Ron and accepts him as his real best friend, and the two of them take off running together. They race past Savannah's yard, where she is crying because the poop girl thing has gone viral and her entire social life has collapsed. Barney asks her again not to say anything. And when a security man shows up at her fence asking if she saw Barney come through, Savannah plays it cool and sends him in the completely wrong direction. Then Barney and Ron disappear into the woods. They spend the whole day out there playing and just being free. That night, under the stars, Barney tells Ron about how he used to be close with Savannah and Rich before they got consumed by chasing internet fame. It feels like a real conversation between real friends. Back in town, Andrew hacks into every kid's B-bot to use them as eyes and ears, listening in on private conversations and scanning everywhere to track down Barney and Ron. Graham and Donka show up at Savannah's door looking for Barney, and she genuinely does not know where he is. But at school, she pulls Rich aside and tells him straight up. It is their fault that Barney and Ron are stuck out in the woods. The woods get cold fast. Barney is running out of warmth. Ron's battery is draining. And reprogrammed B-bots are scanning the forest to find them. Andrew spots them on a monitor but quietly covers it up, because as far as he is concerned, if Barney and Ron just disappear in that forest, his problem solves itself. Barney's asthma starts to kick in from the cold, and Ron, using the last of his battery, carries Barney out of the woods and brings him to the edge of the school grounds by morning. Savannah, Rich, Noah, Ava, Graham, and Donka all find them there. So does Bubble. Barney is rushed to the hospital. Ron is taken back to the company. At the hospital, Savannah finally says out loud what everyone has been avoiding. They all used to be real friends before popularity took over. She even brings up how close she and Ava used to be. It is a genuine moment. Barney wakes up and finds Mark at his bedside, along with a freshly reprogrammed Ron. But this version of Ron acts like every other B-bot, and Barney wants nothing to do with it. Mark tells him he can restore Ron's original memories from the cloud, but before he can do anything, he gets the news that Andrew convinced the shareholders to fire him and take over as CEO. Mark is out. Andrew is in, and Andrew has plans to use the B-bots to squeeze every last bit of data out of kids for profit. So Barney, Graham, Donka, and Mark all team up to break into Bubble headquarters. Graham creates a distraction by plugging his notoriously terrible laptop into the building's system, which immediately causes a blackout. Andrew figures out what is happening and sends people after Barney. With Mark guiding him, Barney makes it to the massive server room. The room is enormous, and he has no idea where to start looking. Then the lights go out, and in the darkness, he sees a faint glow. It is the same light Ron would use to help Barney when he was scared of the dark. He follows it and finds Ron's code. He starts to re-upload Ron, but then something stops him. On the surveillance feeds, he can see Savannah, Rich, Noah, and Ava, all sitting alone, all just as isolated as he ever was. He has an idea. Ron's code is different from every other B-bot's code because it does not rely on algorithms or uploaded data. Ron actually learned about Barney the slow way, the human way, so Barney uploads Ron's code to all the other kids' B-bots too, so they can do the same thing for their owners. Ron and Barney say a quiet goodbye, knowing that this is the right call, even if it hurts. Meanwhile, in the presentation hall, Andrew is giving a self-congratulatory speech to the whole company. But Mark walks out and plays a video he secretly recorded of Andrew laying out his entire scheme and going on about how much he hates kids. In front of everybody, Andrew folds immediately. Mark takes back his job and promises to do better, for the kids and for the bots. 3 months later, every kid in town has a glitchy, chaotic, wonderful B-bot just like Ron was. And because of it, they are all genuinely happier. Barney is hanging out at recess with Savannah, Rich, Noah, and Ava, eating chicken legs that Donka packed for all of them. The camera pulls back, and high above the school, the bubble tower lights up with Ron's smiling face. He is still out there, still watching over his best friend. And here is what this movie is really saying. Underneath all the robot chaos, real friendship cannot be downloaded. It takes time, it takes patience, and yeah, sometimes it takes a glitchy little robot accidentally destroying your bedroom before things start to click. The best friends you will ever have are the ones who had to actually learn you, not the ones who just had access to your data. That is a wrap on Ron's Gone Wrong, everyone. If this one got you in your feelings a little, you are not glitching. You are just human. Go be somebody's Ron today, and I will catch you in the next reboot.